recording. All right. So there's probably going to be some people who are joining. But hello, everyone. Good afternoon. Good morning for everyone who's on the West Coast. Welcome to our Next Generation Ambassador Program graduation event. I am so thrilled that all of you could join us in graduating our first ever cohort of Next Generation Ambassadors. A little bit about our graduating cohort includes 34 young and emerging health professionals across the US and also several located internationally, representing 12 states and 4 countries. We have ambassadors studying and practicing medicine. We have physical therapy, public health, veterinary medicine, and other health sciences. We launched the program in March of this year with our Environmental Justice Roundtable event. Since then, ambassadors have attended skills and topical trainings in climate and health and have participated in monthly PSR-directed advocacy actions in local climate adaptation and mitigation projects. They've also attended all ambassador networking meetings and strengthened their advocacy writing skills through our letter to the editor and op-ed writing campaign, which one of our ambassadors here today, Elise Brandon, helped co-coordinate with Medical Students for a Sustainable Future. Some of our training topics included the health harms of gas stoves, hydrogen blending, a letter to the editor writing workshop, a climate and health curriculum training, exploring intersectionalities between nuclear weapons abolition and environmental justice, and most recently last week, the mental health impacts of climate change. I wanted to thank all of our ambassadors who are here today and who also couldn't join us, who have remained flexible, patient, enthusiastic, and driven, as we have truly built a plane while flying it for this program. You truly never cease to amaze and inspire me with your ongoing advocacy work and dedication to making the planet greener and more healthy for all amidst your incredibly busy schedules and clinical rotations. I also want to thank all of the PSR national staff, board members, chapter leaders, and all of you here today for helping out and contributing to the program in various ways. I am really looking forward to continued collaboration between our graduating Next Gen ambassadors, our upcoming cohort, and the rest of the PSR community. I am so excited to see where all of you ambassadors continue in your journeys as climate and health and environmental justice advocates and healthcare professionals. We are so happy to welcome you to the PSR community, and we really hope that you continue taking an active part in our organization. Now I'm going to hand it over to Jeff Carter, our executive director, for some remarks.
Thanks, Becca. It's great. It's really great to be here. This is really exciting. I'm struck looking at the screen. What's really cool. It makes me feel really good is to see all these young faces, and then see some veteran members of PSR. Dr. Gould, in particular, who's been with PSR since the beginning, almost the beginning. So not quite that long, but it's really great to see some of our longtime activists, some of our more famous activists, alongside with you all. I'm excited to be here. I'm just going to tell you a quick story about, I'm not a doctor. I wasn't involved in any of this stuff until I came to PSR 5 years ago. And I've told this story to people before. You know, when I interviewed a couple of times with PSR, I remember saying to somebody, I really, really hope I get this job, because having learned about both the nuclear weapons issue and the climate change stuff in much more detail than I had been aware of earlier, I started to really worry about it. And I said, I really want this job so I can do something about it. And I kind of thought about that story this morning when I was thinking about this event today, and just commend you all, and also say, you know, I think activism on these issues is important, not just because we need to all work together to help change the world, but also for me, just to be able to deal with what's happening in the world right now, the ability to do something about it is really important, at least I think, to kind of keep, you know, stress under control. So it's great that you all joined this program, and especially since it's our first time out. I want to just say one other thing about if you need any additional inspiration, I really want to recommend, we just had our annual fundraising gala, which we're still doing online and over Zoom. And I don't know if any of you were there, but towards the end of the event, there's an interview with Dr. Natasha DeJarnette and Dr. Mona Hanna-Attisha. Dr. Attisha was the pediatrician whose research really broke the story about the Flint water crisis. Natasha's been on our board of directors for some time. She's now on a leave of absence to go work at the White House at the Center for Environmental Quality. These are two amazing women working on these issues. And again, if you haven't seen that video, take a look. It's about 40 minutes in, and it's terrific. So I recommend that to you. I want to close before I hand it back to Becca appropriately by thanking Becca, who's done an absolutely amazing job. We kind of had an idea for this program, very kind of vaguely put together, and we thought, I remember even saying this. I said, if we can hire the right person for this fellowship position, it's all going to work out. And that's exactly what happened. So thank you, Becca, and I look forward to the rest of the event today.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Jeff. Really appreciate it. So now for really the most important part of the event, I really think, is handing it over to our ambassadors. So what we're going to do now is we're going to have several of our wonderful ambassadors present about their reflections about the program and some of the advocacy work they've been taking part in. After all of our ambassadors have spoken, we will have a short Q&A session, and then we'll close out with two of our chapter representatives sharing about the work that they're engaging in and some opportunities for you all. So we have an order. I'm just going to introduce each of you, and then we'll have a little break in the middle with 3 videos from some of our ambassadors who couldn't make it. So we are starting off with Ebuka Egwedire. He is a second-year master's in public health student at Claremont Graduate University in Claremont, California. I'm going to turn it over to you. Thanks for, I know I put you on the spot being the first person. Thanks so much.
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Thank you, Becca, for the opportunity. My name is Ebuka Egwedire. I'm a second-year master's student in public health at Claremont Graduate University. I'm an international student. Becca was my classmate, and we had class together, and she brought up the issue of climate change that that was an organization we needed to be part of. And I signed up, and I don't regret any bit of it. During my time working as a Physical for Change ambassador, I've engaged in smaller acts of advocacy like signing of different petitions, attended different trainings. I've had the opportunity of attending various trainings from wonderful speakers who have helped me understand the impact of climate change in the environment. Here in LA, we're trying to work on a curriculum for high school, but due to my workload in school then, I really was able to participate very well. But I am very happy to have chosen the path to be a climate change. And even beyond this graduation, I would do my part in whatever way I could to help the climate. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Ebuka. It's been wonderful having you and just amazing attendance. I think Ebuka has attended every single training. It's been amazing. Next up, we have Jackie Regan. She's a third-year physical therapy student at Mount St. Mary's University, also in Los Angeles.
Yeah, I have a little PowerPoint to make things easier. I don't know if I can share my screen.
Yeah, you should be able to share. If you can't, let me know.
So let me know if you guys can see that.
Yeah, perfect.
The presentation. This bar. Okay. Okay. So starting off, some things that my program already did. So I'm a physical therapy student. So we wanted to make sure it was across the campus. So the first things we did, we got food services involved. So we went back to, instead of with COVID, they went back to all the disposable for hygiene and cleanliness, but now they're back to using reusable dishes and back to the California. So I'm located in Los Angeles. So getting back to charging for to-go containers, 50 cents to kind of incentivize using the reusable or to-go containers that are reusable. So that's something that we got back to doing, which is nice. And then transportation, there's carpool incentives and day passes. So if you don't have to drive every day, different pricing for parking on campus are some of the things. And then we also got connected with the Environmental Physiotherapy Association, which is an international collective based in Norway, which was very interesting and helpful for our physical therapy specific curriculum updates. So we have some changes in the pathology classes, some of our PT as an educator. So doing different ways to have behavior changes and work with clients and patients that way. And then different classes that we have based on those same things of climate health is human health. So how can we incorporate it into the curriculum? But the main thing that I worked on this year with the help of PSR and Becca, especially, is this really exciting extracurricular pro bono type of opportunity. So I connected with the Los Angeles Community Garden Council, and they help supply the community in East Los Angeles with fresh organic produce, which is very sustainable, very good mission statement for them. And so what we wanted to do as physical therapy was to get involved and have an interactive workshop to help make sure that they don't get injured with their gardening, to make sure it's sustainable on all accounts. So we're really trying to help them understand their body to prevent injury and increase the longevity of that activity. So that's the main thing that will hopefully launch in the spring. But yeah, getting a lot of that help and support on the front end from Becca and PSR. So I'll stop share. So it's, I'm confused. Is it stop share?
No, if you just, it's still on share. I don't know if you want to just exit out. Wait, I might be able to do it. Oh, I got it. I got it.
Okay, I was like, I don't see the button. And usually there's a red button to stop share. So I was confused.
Thank you so much, Jackie. It's wonderful to hear about all of the different initiatives you're taking part in, especially in physical therapy. Is Megan here? I'm not sure if she's here or not, just because some people still have my name. Is Megan here?
Yeah, I'm here.
Okay, great. So up next we have Megan Metcalf. She's a medical student at the UT Health San Antonio School of Medicine.
Hi. Wait, why does it show I have your name?
That's what we're trying to figure out. I can rename you. I think there's some weird thing with Zoom.
Oh, I can rename myself.
Thank you.
I didn't even notice that. See if I can, there you go. Sorry, I'm trying to mess with the video settings. There we go. Hi, my name is Megan Metcalf. I'm a med student, and I feel like I got a lot out of PSR's, the different trainings that y'all had available for us. I thought a lot of them were really good. And I think that was definitely a highlight of my experience with PSR.
Awesome. Thanks so much for sharing. All right. Next up, we have Abdul Aziz Umaru. He's a second-year doctoral public health student at Claremont Graduate University and a patient placement coordinator at the University of Pittsburgh Medical Center.
Hello, everyone. So, my name is Abdul, second-year student at Claremont Graduate University. Thank you for giving me this fantastic opportunity. It has been almost a year since I started this wonderful health ambassador program. As we know, the United States nation established 17 sustainable development goals, and one of these goals is which also aligned with the UN, is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impact. As advocates of climate change, it was an excellent opportunity to receive training and be educated about the impact of health. It was inside experience. One of my favorite parts was the education about gas stove pollution and advocacy toward it. It was an opportunity for me to have deep knowledge about the climate and its ambiguity. Thank you, Rebecca, again, who guided us to this journey. I'm forever grateful, and I wish continued success to this great program and the team. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abdul. Those are really kind words. Up next, we have Anna Brandis. I hope I pronounced your name right. A fourth-year medical student at the Spencer Fox Eccles School of Medicine at the University of Utah.
Hi. I just wanted first off to thank Becca for all the work you put into this. I learned a ton through the program. Something new for me that I had never really considered was the EPA testimonial. I did some of the tutorials and the training for that and didn't actually get to give a testimony, but definitely plan on doing it in the future. My local project has been working to implement climate change into our longitudinal medical school curriculum. And this semester, we've actually made some inroads into the curriculum in a number of different ways. Our biggest impact so far has been we'll be teaching a class to a cohort of students about climate and health. And they've asked us to come in and give that lecture. And we're going to make sure to have a heavy environmental justice component. So I'm really excited about that. And thank you for all of the great learning.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing more about updates with the project. So thank you so much. So now we're going to split it up a little bit. We have 3 ambassadors who sent in some videos. So first up, I'm going to share my screen. Hopefully I'm going to make sure the sound is on too. So first portion, let's hope that this will work. Give me 1 minute. There we go. Let me know if you can hear the sound or not. This is Vanilla.
Hi, my name is
Here.
Vanilla, and I'm a second-year medical student at Johns Hopkins
Yep.
University. And for my project, I was working with the Energy Justice Network to increase composting and reduce waste in the city of Baltimore. And so some of the steps we took to do this were creating a composting map of all of the drop-off sites in the area and all of the organizations that would pick up composting from neighborhoods. And we also worked to publish an op-ed in the local newspaper, the Baltimore Sun, to highlight the need for a citywide composting program.
All right, so that was Vanilla. And then next, let me just make sure this is okay. Next we have Brianna. She has a little bit of a longer recording, really detailing the project she's working on. So hope you all enjoy. Let me make sure this is still sharing. There we go. All right. Can you hear?
Hello, my name is Brianna Egan, and
You hear?
I'm a second-year medical student at Loma Linda University in Southern California. As part of the Next Generation Ambassadors Program, I chose to work on an ongoing local project, which I helped start over 2 years ago to establish the first community garden in my hometown of Redondo Beach, California. Redondo Beach Community Gardens is an initiative of a local nonprofit, South Bay Parkland Conservancy, which engages in native habitat and park restoration in the South Bay region of Los Angeles. With Redondo Beach Community Gardens, we are creating our first garden at a city park, and our mission is to provide a space to grow food, build community, reduce food insecurity, and practice sustainable and healthy living. In the past few years, we've been able to build our leadership team, present to City Council, and receive approvals. And we've engaged with community members to design and plan the garden. During the course of my time in the Next Gen program, over about the past 6 months, we've had the following highlights. We received a grant from our county supervisor for $5,000 to fund our Giving Garden produce donation program, as well as plot scholarships and the community compost co-op. We also received funding from our local health district for $15,000 for the outdoor education space and shed. And I spoke at the city budget meeting in June to request additional funding from the city council, and the city subsequently doubled their funding commitment for garden infrastructure. We've also been able to finalize our plans and even break ground at the site. In July, I organized a garden
The audio cut out. 1 second. Let me see. Sorry about that. That's weird. I'm gonna just make sure the audio is sharing. All right. Let me try this again.
At the site.
Hear it?
In July, I organized a garden tour for our leadership team where we visited 3 public and community garden sites in Pasadena, and we met with garden managers to learn and exchange knowledge. In October, we put together a strategic planning session with members of a Boy Scout troop who will be building the raised beds and compost system. We catered a plant-based dinner and invited our garden advisors to help us make decisions and finalize designs for durable and beautiful wooden beds. And most exciting for us, the City Public Works team was able to break ground in early October to build the custom wooden fence. We've also held work days for community members to prepare the grounds for build out by removing invasive plants. And now we're currently working with contractors to level and clear the grounds, install irrigation lines, and build the education space and shed. In the new year, we'll be hosting more work days to build the raised beds with the Boy Scouts, plant the hillside food forest, and add art, signage, and so much more to bring the space to life. This project will continue to progress, and it has involved persistence and coordination over several years as we've advocated to the city, secured funding, and followed up on various aspects. It's been fulfilling personally to have so many people come on board to help make this a reality, whether as leadership team members, community volunteers, even project. So it's nice to be able to reflect on that. And looking back, I think it served us well to communicate a clear vision to the city and our partners and to build a strong team. And I was also able to pass on a lot of my responsibilities recently to another member of our team who will be serving as garden manager since my time in Redondo is limited. Lastly, just would like to share that I appreciate that the Next Gen program encourages health professional students to engage in similar work as leaders in our community. And it's important for us to build the skills for local advocacy and program development around health and climate justice. I was also able to take part in a few rapid actions, such as signing letters supporting building electrification and heavy-duty vehicle emissions regulations, in addition to some of my ongoing advocacy work in the area of housing and transit justice. Thank you for allowing us to develop our voice and for supporting our work.
Great. Thank you for bearing with me with the I muted by accident. Okay, our last video, and then we have a few more ambassadors. I know that was a longer one, but she did such a great job with the video. So I just wanted to honor all of that. Finally, we have our video from Kayla Kately. I'm gonna share one more time. All right.
My name is Kayla Catley, and I am a medical student at Washington University School of Medicine in St. Louis, Missouri. And as a Physicians for Social Responsibility, Climate, and Health Next Gen ambassador, I participated in multiple smaller acts of advocacy, including writing my first ever op-ed for a newspaper, as well as participating in EPA hearings and signing on for various petitions, and taking it upon myself as well to dive deeper into some of the topics regarding climate change and health in Missouri specifically, as part of an ongoing community advocacy project. I've also been involved with some other students at my university in creating a network of physicians, fellows, residents, staff, and students who are interested in climate advocacy and sustainability. On our campus, so far we have 70 people involved in the endeavor, and we hope to continue growing over the coming years. We've been partnering with our Office of Sustainability, and they've been really wonderful and supportive of us. I'm also really grateful to the Next Gen Ambassador Program for helping to light the fire from us to get this project off the ground and giving me some tools and courage to take on a larger project that will hopefully lead to more awareness and more research, more sustainable healthcare practices at our institution.
Awesome. All right. So that was the last video. Kayla's been awesome. I'm working with her, and she's, you know, kind of shifted projects throughout with different barriers, but I've seen some of the recent work she's done with classmates. It's been incredible. So we have just a few more ambassadors to present. Next, we have Brittany Denzer, who's a first-year internal medicine resident at the University of Colorado in Denver, Colorado.
Hey everyone, I'm Brittany. First off, thank you for this amazing opportunity. I think as a now like very baby physician, I really wanted to make sure I had ways to like stay engaged in this topic of climate change and health, which I've been interested in for a long time. For my project, I mentored a group of medical students at my home institution at the University of Colorado School of Medicine. Helped create a new service learning group called focused on climate change and health equity. So through this group, I helped lead monthly meetings to help these students design projects focused on sort of community engagement around climate change and health. I was able to do a little bit of education with them, which was really fun, and helped support their projects along the way with networking of some sort of existing contacts I had made through my journey throughout medical school. And then now that I'm an intern and like a lot busier, I really appreciated the opportunity for the quick advocacy actions. I know a big part of my personal and professional goals, I really want to stay engaged in this throughout my life. And I think being able to practice that balance, like as you're a practicing physician, has been really, really valuable. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Brittany. And I look forward to hearing about the mentoring and how that group continues to evolve. Next up, we have Jenny Silva, who's a medical student at the University of Pennsylvania Perelman School of Medicine.
Hi, thanks, Becca. Just echoing what everyone said, thank you again for this opportunity, and thanks to Becca for facilitating this fellowship over the last year. When I started the program, I was kind of taking on a project that had been started at my med school by upperclassmen who had since graduated around incorporating natural disaster response and preparedness into the medical education curriculum, particularly connecting it not just with emergency medicine, but across various specialties. And I just really appreciate how much this program has helped with developing ideas for resources to incorporate into the curriculum and providing examples of how other fellows and other students have had success in their own schools. I learned a lot about psychological first aid training and was exposed to some other curriculum guides around kind of community-based natural disaster preparedness structures. And I also really learned a lot from the trainings, particularly the training from Dr. Erica Frank and Next Gen U, where she talked about how they had developed this kind of open access online climate and health curriculum by looking at different competencies to target and structuring curricula around that. So I think that this is provided a really great foundation and is helping us kind of structure how we're going to continue transitioning this project and building upon it. So thank you.
Great. I'm really looking forward to seeing how that evolves as well. And the fact that you're focused on the natural disaster preparedness is just really incredible. So thanks for sharing. All right, next we have Mitchell Singstock. He is a medical student at the University of Cincinnati School of Medicine.
Hi, Becca. Thanks so much for organizing this. And yeah, I just want to say I'm really grateful for the Ambassador Program. My project this year was primarily around curriculum. I was creating a climate, health, and equity curriculum for my school that was kind of built around the Planetary Health Report Card and how we could really track and measure our progress there. And it's been a nice process, because with all the resources that PSR has and contacts, it's really helped me to, as someone who's, just a medical student, so I'm definitely not expert in this area, to get a better grasp of what the field is of, like climate change and planetary health, and then trying to incorporate that into education for my peers. And so some tangible things that I've been able to do with my project this year is leading a team to create slide decks throughout our organ blocks that integrate organ systems that we're learning about to relevant subjects around sustainability and climate change. And we're going to start our a new 4th year elective next year, which is particularly, it's targeted about climate change and building future physician leaders on the subject in Cincinnati, which is totally new for us. And because before, just a couple years ago, this wasn't, to my knowledge, anything that had been talked about at Cincinnati. So it's been a really great program. And I have to say, on like a more personal level, I've really appreciated the mentorship. Becca was able to, when I was considering professional steps forward, she was able to get me in contact with a lot of really incredible people that are working in this space and have been for years. And I think it helped show me and give me the confidence that this is this is a valid pathway forward that has a lot of professional opportunities, and that's something I can dedicate my life to. And so I'm really happy about all of that, and also just the support of PSR.
Thanks, Mitch. And I have to say, Mitch has done like every single advocacy action. He's like done all the different comments and testifying, and just really, really being on top of reaching out to mentors. And I know, thank you to everyone here who's connected with Mitch as well. All right, so last up we have Elise Brandon. If you'd like to say a few words. Elise was also, I don't know if you're still the advocacy chair at Medical Students for Sustainable Future, and she helped out with our advocacy through writing campaign.
Yes, hi. As Becca mentioned, I served as the National Advocacy Chair for Medical Students for Sustainable Future for the last year. Debatable whether I'm going to serve another year. We are currently going through applications and leadership transitions, so it's possible, but unsure. I am also a 3rd year MD and PH candidate at Oregon Health and Science University in Portland, Oregon. And as Becca mentioned, we work together, MS4SF and PSR, on an advocacy through writing campaign. We held a series of workshops on storytelling, op-ed writing, letter to the editor writing, and then encouraged students through Medical Students for Sustainability and through PSR to submit their own op-eds and letters to the editor. We did some editing for them. We helped them kind of go through that process. And I think it was a really successful campaign. I was really excited to see where that went. And Medical Students for Sustainable Future also hosted another gas stove training. So Becca was really instrumental in forming that partnership as well. So I really appreciated that. On a more local level, I have also been doing some work through PSR Next Gen program. Mostly I've been looking at educating faculty around climate change and health, which is something that a lot of our faculty have not experienced as much. We recently did a pilot grand rounds presentation for a pathology grand rounds, and it was our first one. We thought it was a good one, and they provided a lot of really great feedback. A lot of the work that they actually were interested in was less about the educational aspect and more about the next steps that they can take. So we are editing our presentation so we can present to more grand rounds and more departments in the future, but it's very exciting so far. Another project that I worked on, we raised awareness about the environmental impacts of a proposed mega dairy in Eastern Oregon earlier this year. And we got a bunch of students to sign on to a letter to push the farm agricultural company to have a public hearing to talk more about the environmental impacts with the community. And they agreed to hold a public hearing. So that was really exciting, a really great advocacy opportunity for us. And then, as a bunch of the other students mentioned, I'm also working on some integration of climate and health discussions into the curriculum more longitudinally. And I'm working with a curriculum education task force at my school, which is really great, to have multiple points of contact with climate and health discussions. including things like intro to clinicals, intro to our transition to residencies. And we are actually just got another course, which is going to be very exciting, that will be a required climate and health discussion among the first year medical students. So a lot of small things going on, and I would not have been able to do any of them nationally or locally without Becca's help. So I really appreciate all of the support I've gotten from PSR, and a lot of the partnership as well. So thank you very much.
Thank you. That was incredible. Just you are involved in like a plethora of different climate and health advocacy work. So I know that was a lot of different presentations. Thank you to all of you, especially for some of the slideshows and just the work you put in. I do want to now do a brief, about like 10 minutes for 12 minutes for a Q&A session. So anyone, also ambassadors, if you want to ask other ambassadors questions, I know there's a lot of projects that were mentioned, but I do want to give, national staff, chapter leaders a chance to ask any questions you'd like, if you want to learn a little bit more about a project or something. Zach?
Hi there, everyone. First and foremost, congratulations. All of these projects are really incredible, and it really shows the amount of work, extracurricular work y'all did outside of already the hard work of being a medical student and a grad student in public health. So hats off to y'all. These were incredible presentations. I have a question really for anyone, but if anyone who mainly focused on education and curriculum building. I was just wondering what the response was from faculty and like school admin. Were folks amenable to changing the curriculum? Were folks, resistant? Did you have any hurdles that you had to jump over? Just a little bit of knowledge sharing in case anyone hits that roadblock again. So, but thank you again. This is a wonderful presentation.
Yeah, and right before, I just want to thank Zach. He did give the Health Farms of Gastos presentation, connected with some of our ambassadors, and also worked with Elise for another Health Farms of Gastos training. So thank you, Zach. Does anybody want to answer that?
Yeah, I'd be happy to start off.
Yeah.
So the way that I did it at my school, I really followed the pathway that was set out by the Planetary Health Report Card, where we did an analysis of the current way that the curriculum was structured, and then created a presentation, which I got one of the associate deans to be sign on as an author in the presentation, and then I gave a presentation to the entire curriculum committee explaining just how important this was. And thankfully, I think it's hard for at least at a place where this had never been discussed before, it was hard for them to argue with the data, because it's just so overwhelming from the American Medical Association and the World Health Organization, and even from our Ohio State Medical Association, where I am. All of them say that this should be taught in curriculum. And so it's pretty easy to point to that and say, this is clearly really important. The Lancet releases these incredible reports every year. And so I think a lot of them weren't able to disagree with the premise. I think the challenge was actually, how do you, and what I'm still debating through and figuring out is, I don't want to just throw information at medical students that are already consuming so much information without there being something tangible from it. And I think that's something that we kind of talked about, the mental health impacts of climate change discussion just recently, where it's important to give people information, to give them context, but if you don't have something, a next step that comes from it, or what it means, aside from that things are really scary, then it can be kind of overwhelming. And so that's what we're working on now, is how to, which I think also a lot of the faculty have been more amenable to, is how do we have less information, but really make it impactful and empowering for students. And I'd say overall, that's been going pretty well.
Thank you so much for sharing. Is there another ambassador wanting to respond to that question, or I know.
I can speak to that a little as well. I think I agree that the administration, a lot of the deans, a lot of the professors, the curriculum directors are very interested, and they agree that it is very important. And they are mostly reckoning with where does it fit into the curriculum, especially in a curriculum that's already very jam-packed. At this point, I think a lot of them feel that to add any discussion of climate change and health, you have to take away something else. And so that is where a lot of the pushback is coming from, at least from my administration. It's trying to figure out what we can get rid of to make more space for this. And so we are trying to have more discussions about, we don't necessarily need to get rid of anything. We can really add, a slide here or there around these discussions. We can add optional electives. We can have, one extra lecture in a term to discuss these things. But I think a lot of the pushback from my administration, it's not even necessarily pushback, but the hesitation that's coming is around trying not to overwhelm students when they are already overwhelmed with more information, as Mitchell was saying.
Thank you, Elise. I don't know if anybody else wanted to add. Yeah, sorry, because Jenny, yeah.
Yeah, no, I kind of some things similar to what have been said, but I just wanted to add in, I think there's also an element of kind of reaching a critical mass of like times that it's brought up to administration and number of different people who bring it up. I personally did the planetary health report card at my school a couple of years ago, and then a couple of other iterations of classes did it after that, and they all were talking with administration. And actually, just earlier today, I was speaking with a faculty member at the school who told me that they created a faculty position for planetary health curriculum. And now that they have a faculty in that position, it has been much easier to push through changes that were like being begun to have talked about with the planetary health report card. And when I kind of asked her what did she think was the turning point for the school kind of creating a position like that, she said it was really helped by students bringing it up multiple times so that the med school really became aware that it was an issue that was persisting, and also just continuing to submit proposals for like sessions that could be inserted into the curriculum or slides or things of that nature. So it's sometimes a longer game.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm going to turn it over to another question. I think Bob, you were up next.
Hi, folks. I'm Bob Gould. I'm president of the San Francisco Bay chapter. I was going to speak later, but I just wanted to respond now and quickly, just particularly how incredibly exciting the work that you're doing is, and how particularly important the sustainability and curriculum work is. Julie Lindo is also on the call here, our communications director, and I have been working on particularly the curriculum development at UCSF over the last number of years. And I think it would be really useful to, draw on what you've presented here and perhaps follow up on your ideas, because a lot of chapters, I'm thinking of Becky Bernhardt, for example, trying to get curriculum going in the University of Texas to sort of share the lessons you've learned. I'm very happy, Jenny, that you connected with Erica Frank, who's a former president of PSR, on her wonderful work on Gen U in terms of initiating curriculum. And as well, for those of you who've picked up on the planetary report card, that's a project that got initiated by our wonderful students at UCSF and Stanford, pulling together that, Carly Hampshire's work that I'm sure you're also familiar with her work as well. So we would love to follow up on that with anybody who's interested to help draw the lessons and systematize this so we could work with many other schools that haven't gotten this started or just getting it going, to get over the hurdles that you're mentioning in terms of faculty resistance, not enough time, and things like that. So thank you for your extraordinary work.
Thank you so much, Bob. I really appreciate that. And we'll hear from Bob in a little bit about some of the initiatives going on at San Francisco Bay chapter. Barb, you also have your hand raised.
Hi, I'm Barbara Gottlieb. I'm the Director of Environment and Health in the National Office of Physicians for Social Responsibility. And I've really enjoyed working with you, Becca, over the course of this past year to get this program up and running. And as we can see, highly successful. PSR works in so many different ways, and these ways are actually reflected by a lot of your work. One of the things we really put a lot of emphasis on is education, but also advocacy, since we understand that we have very little time to get climate change under control for the sake of not just health, but eventually survival. And I was really impressed to see that a number of you had actually testified before the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA. That's a pretty high bar. I have to say, it's something I never did until I was kind of thrown into that work bodily while I was here at PSR. And I think it's just really, really important. It's the policy work is really the biggest lever we have for making the changes that are necessary. So I wondered if one of you who had testified before the EPA could just share a few more words about what was that like? How did you prep for it? How did it go? And how did you feel about the whole experience?
Or any other public testimony you did. I think there was another one that wasn't the EPA, but it was like the national, it was like the pipeline one. I can't remember when it was. It was in the springtime. I can't remember who testified and what, if anybody wants to share. No, I can also share because I actually, this was the first time I testified. I think I used some of what PSR had recommended and did a lot of research about the topic. And then just also when I was on the call, everyone has 2 minutes or so. And so I also listened to what other people had said and then really tried to hone in on personal narrative and what I felt strongly about, being a young and emerging health professional. And I think some of them are state specific. So I didn't really draw on that because I think it was across state air pollution. It didn't really involve Massachusetts, but I think involving that local perspective was great too. I don't know if that answers your question, Barb. I just want to jump in.
No, it does, Becca. And I would just like to thank you, Becca, for your great work pulling this program together and moving it along. I think I've really enjoyed watching you kind of grow and rise to the challenges that we faced, and done a wonderful job as we've worked together to give this program kind of clarity and strength and structure. And I'm really looking forward to our next year.
Awesome. Are there any other questions? And thank you, Barb, also for your supervision. Are there any other questions we have for ambassadors before we turn it over to Anna and Bob? Also, I mean, as Bob mentioned, we want this to be a continued conversation and collaboration. So the conversation doesn't end today in this graduation ceremony. It's really continued, and we want you to continue to be part of our PSR community, as I said before. Any other questions? If you do, you can type it in the chat. All right, I'm going to turn it over first to Anna. She is going to talk a little bit about what's going on at Greater Boston PSR. And these are just 2 examples of some great chapters that are really strong. And I know there's remote work opportunities as well. And then there's chapters all around the country that we can connect you with. I know that I've given all of you some resources about chapter work, but we encourage you to also continue to reach out, or if there's any connections that we can facilitate for you, we are happy to do so. So I'm going to turn it over to Anna.
Thanks, Becca. It's really great to hear from all of you and inspiring. And we as a chapter are constantly trying to get a hold of medical students and finding that they're often very busy and don't have time for anything extra, like you're saying. So to think that you all took time to do this program really means a lot. It says a lot about you as individuals, but also that they do exist and that there are possibilities for connecting with medical students going on. So it's inspiring to us too. So I'm Anna Linakis, and I'm the Executive Director of Greater Boston PSR. And we are a relatively small chapter, but we have a really active board and a lot of active members in the Greater Boston area. We have 2 programs. One is focused on climate change, and one is focused on nuclear war prevention. And we have people who come to us usually with one of those areas in mind and wind up learning more about the other, oftentimes because climate seems to be a much more mainstream topic right now. People come to us thinking they're focus exclusively on climate. And then they learn that, oh, I guess I can't really ignore the risk of nuclear war, especially nowadays. And so how can I get involved? And so I find it really interesting to watch how that those interests evolve between programs. There is overlap, and people don't often see that. They see it as sort of these twin columns as opposed to overlapping. You know, the risk of nuclear war increases as climate change risks worsen. So I find that really interesting. We have about 2,000 members and probably about 100 more active members that we have a Google list. We constantly chatting on this Google list with the 100 active members. And we do so many things ranging from testifying to fighting these local plants. We have a plant in town, or a compressor station that's being built, and we've been fighting that for a while. Biomass plants. The local work seems to really get people the most excited and fired up. No bad pun intended. And that's the stuff that really seems to get us going in terms of having local conversations with press and on social media. But the broader policy stuff is really important. And so we try to keep connected with the work that's going on at national and between other chapters. And I know Becca wants me to wrap this up. So I just wanted to end by saying that we, even though we're Greater Boston, we see ourselves as one of many components of this work, many local hubs. And we're really happy to share the work of any of you. If you have something that you feel like could get out to the medical community, we do have a lot of medical schools in New England, and even to the doctors within our region, please feel free to share that with me, and I can share it with our chapter. If you're interested in doing work with us, we have so many ways you can get involved, from social media to testifying to, I loved all the conceptual ideas like storytelling and, natural disaster preparedness. All of that can be applied within any region. So I'm happy to share your work with our members, and I'm also happy to give you resources if you have any interest in anything in particular. Thanks to all of you.
Thank you so much, Anna. I've seen, because I've worked a little bit with Greater Boston PSR, some incredible work, and I hope that we can all collaborate moving forward. I'm going to finish off with Bob. I know Bob already posted in the chat a full range of programs, because there's a lot more going on at San Francisco Bay PSR, but take it away.
Well, hi again. Don't want to repeat a lot of what Anna, for example, said. We also at San Francisco Bay PSR, beyond the curriculum work and sustainability work that has reflected our longstanding connections with Healthcare Without Harm and other organizations and medical societies working in this space, we also have a full suite of programs that include a very active environmental health committee that meets every other month and involves health professionals of all sorts at UCSF, Stanford, some at UC Davis, but there's collaboration on a whole range of activities. And as well, we have an active nuclear weapons abolition committee that also meets every other month, another committee that works on divestment issues related to divesting from fossil fuel companies, et cetera. I would also welcome connecting with all of you based on your great experiences, all that you've learned on a variety of projects that we have. Within our environmental health projects, as folks at national staff know, we have a very active program on building electrification, which is very much centered on equity issues, whereby as we're making the transformations from gas to electric, we want to make sure that everybody shares on that, and particularly poorer communities that don't have access, don't get gentrified out of their ability to make these transformations as well. We also are working very closely with projects in Bayview Hunters Point, which is a historic African-American community that's poisoned by legacy Navy radioactive and other toxic waste. And like many other frontline communities in the San Francisco Bay Area, is also threatened by rising sea levels. So we're part and working within a Toxic Tides project that's threatening many of the communities around San Francisco Bay that are threatened by having their water and land polluted by rising sea levels in areas where there are petrochemical facilities, chemical facilities. You can imagine all the threats to people's health involved on people who are the most overburdened communities. So we would welcome your work with us, even if you're working in different places, and our ability to connect you with others that are working in this around the country, just like Anna. We'd be glad to help you with that. Just to mention Todd Sack, who's on the call and is the incoming president of PSR, himself works very much in the sustainability space with My Green Doctor, bringing those lessons to office practices as well. So we have a lot of people on our team who would love to work with y'all. So thanks for being here and inspiring us.
Yeah, thanks.
Thank you so much, Rob. I really appreciate that. Also inspiring, really. I just do want to close. First of all, thank you everyone for all of your kind words. And all of you will be, graduating after today. We will be sending you certificates. The door remains open for conversations. I want to hear about project updates. And then we'll be starting our next cohort mid to end January. We're still recruiting, and it will be semester long. And we are working also on implementing your feedback to make the program even better and continue with inspiring our next generation of ambassadors and leaders in PSR and climate and health in the climate and health field. So that's all. We are 1 minute before the hour. I just want to thank all of you and congratulations, and have a great holiday season, whether you celebrate or not. I hope that everyone gets a little bit of rest, relaxation, rejuvenation, and
Yeah.
thank you so much. Thanks everyone. And
Just
have
great.
a great afternoon.
Just fantastic. Thanks for just letting me be part of this today. So great. Thank you.
Jeff.
Thank you all. Great work, y'all.
Congratulations.
Congratulations, y'all. Bye-bye.